E1 Chapter 1 Regulation of Water Content. In this video clip, we are going to learn first the urinary system and the structure of kidneys. Second, the process of urine formation involving ultrafiltration and reabsorption. The urinary system consists of a pair of kidneys which are responsible for osmoregulation and excretion. These are the two basic functions for the kidneys. Two blood vessels are connected to the kidneys. Renal arteries carry blood to the kidney, and renal veins carry blood away from the kidneys. You can think about a problem. Which blood vessel, the renal artery or the vein, carries cleaner blood? You may think about it in terms of the kidney function. There are a pair of tubes we call ureters carrying the urine formed in the kidney to the urinary bladder. The urinary bladder is a muscular sac, which is elastic in nature. Storing the urine temporarily is the function of the urinary bladder. And the exit of the urinary bladder is surrounded by rings of muscles. We call them sphincter muscles. They control the release of urine. During urination, they will relax. At the same time, the muscle of the urinary bladder will contract. Then the urine will be released through the small tube we call urethra to the outside. This picture shows a pig's kidney cut open vertically. You can see the two blood vessels and also the ureter connecting to the kidney. And the inside of the kidney can be divided into three regions. The outer region is called the cortex, the middle region, medulla, and the inner space is called pelvis. These are the three basic regions of the kidney. To understand the function of kidney, we must go to the functional unit of the kidney. It is microscopic structures. When we magnify this unit, we can see the unit in more detail. The functional unit of the kidney is called a nephron. It acts as the functional unit of the kidney. We will know how it performs its function later. Now let's learn about the detailed structure of the nephron. And actually, nephron is the kidney tubule. Tubule means small tubes, highly coiled, very long kidney tubule. One end, you have the Bowman's capsule. It surrounds a network of capillaries we call glomerulus. And then the Bowman's capsule is continuous with the kidney tubule. The first part is called proximal convoluted tubule. You can also call it first coiled tubule. They are similar. And then we have the U-shaped tube, loop of Henle. And then the distal convoluted tubule. You can also call it the second coiled tubule. And finally, it joins to the collecting duct. Different nephron will join to the same collecting duct. And all the collecting ducts will lead to the pelvis. So you have millions of nephron units in the kidney. There are two networks of capillaries working closely with the nephron. The first one we have already mentioned. It is the glomerulus. And the second one, branching from the efferent arteriole, this network of capillaries surrounds the other part of the kidney tubule. These two network of capillaries work together with the nephron for the formation of urine. Now, to learn the function of the kidney, we need to learn how the nephron forms the urine. Okay, it involves two processes. The first one, ultrafiltration, and the second one, reabsorption. We will start learning ultrafiltration. Ultrafiltration, actually, it is a filtering process, filtration process. It occurs between glomerulus and the Bowman's capsule. Due to the pumping action of the heart, the blood pressure in the glomerulus is relatively high, higher than the hydrostatic pressure inside the Bowman's capsule. Okay, the liquid pressure here is lower and it is higher outside. The blood pressure is higher. So due to this hydrostatic pressure difference, higher in the capillary, lower in the Bowman's capsule. So this pressure difference will force small molecules to pass from the glomerulus to the Bowman's capsule. Those molecules involve water, glucose, amino acid, urea, and salts. They will pass through the thin walls of glomerulus and Bowman's capsule. Both of them are 1 cell thick. Actually, they form the thin filters for this filtration process. This process, due to the pressure difference, is a passive process. No energy is required. And the liquid formed from this filtration is called glomerular filtrate. Its composition is similar to plasma, without plasma protein, and of course no blood cells, because they are too big to pass through the wall of the glomerulus, the capillary. Okay, after the formation of the glomerulus filtrate in the Bowman's capsule, then the liquid, the filtrate, will go to the next part of the nephron, okay, to the proximal convoluted tubule. That is the first coiled tubule of the nephron. Okay, so we finished talking about the ultrafiltration taking place between the glomerulus and the Bowman's capsule. Now we will learn about reabsorption. Now, to prevent the loss of useful substances in the glomerular filtrate, finally, as urine, the kidney tubule reabsorb most of the water and other useful substances, okay, from the glomerular filtrate back into the bloodstream. And most of the reabsorption occurs, okay, in the proximal convoluted tubule, okay. We have some adaptive features for the proximal convoluted tubule to achieve efficient reabsorption. First, it is long and highly coiled to provide a large surface area, and it can allow a longer time for reabsorption. So this is the first adaptive feature, being long and highly coiled, providing large surface area and longer time for reabsorption. Okay, second, if you cut a cross section in the tubule, you can see the wall of the proximal convoluted tubule is only made up of a single layer of cells, a single layer of epithelial cells. So it will shorten the distance for reabsorption. Okay, shorten the distance for reabsorption. And the third adaptive features, in one side of the epithelial cell, you can see this microvilli, which can greatly increase the surface area for reabsorption, increasing the surface area for reabsorption due to the presence of a lot of microvilli. Okay, next adaptive feature, you can see from this diagram, many mitochondria are present in the epithelial cell, and they can provide energy from respiration for active transport for the reabsorption. Okay. And finally, the kidney tubule is surrounded by the capillary network, which can help to maintain a steep concentration gradient of substances, because they will carry away the substances once they are being reabsorbed. Okay, so all these are adaptive features so that the proximal convoluted tubule can achieve reabsorption efficiently. Now let's look at the mechanism for different substances to be reabsorbed from the kidney tubule to the capillary. Okay, first let's identify different parts. The liquid here is the glomerular filtrate. So this is the lumen of the kidney tubule containing the glomerular filtrate liquid. And this is the epithelial cell of the proximal convoluted tubule. And of course, this is the capillary. Now, first, about glucose, amino acids, and most salts. They are reabsorbed mainly by active transport. Okay, some diffusion will also occur, but the main method is active transport using energy. And in the proximal convoluted tubule, all glucose and amino acids and most of the salts can be reabsorbed back to the capillary. So no glucose and amino acid will be lost in the urine. Due to the reabsorption of many solute molecules, including those we have already mentioned, glucose, amino acids, and salts, they are the solute molecules. Now, as most of the solute molecules are reabsorbed back to the capillary, then this will raise the water potential in the glomerular filtrate and lower the water potential in the blood of the capillary, okay, due to the reabsorption of the solute molecule. Due to this great water potential gradient, water can be reabsorbed efficiently by osmosis. Okay, so the reabsorption of water depends, okay, or facilitated by the reabsorption of other solute molecules. Okay, please remember this is important. Okay, about the reabsorption of water. And then you may be surprised, urea will also be reabsorbed. But why? Actually, we do not want the waste urea to be back into the capillary. But be careful, this is done by a passive diffusion. It just occurs naturally, okay? It just occurs naturally by passive diffusion. Although we may not want this to happen, but it will happen naturally. Why? Because the concentration of urea in the glomerular filtrate will become higher than that, okay? Higher than that in the blood. So, natural diffusion, passive diffusion will occur. here you need to remember one thing. Because the reabsorption of water, the amount is more than that of the urea being reabsorbed. So along the kidney tubule, the concentration of urea will be higher and higher. Okay, usually we will describe this greater proportion of water reabsorbed than the urea. Okay, so more water is reabsorbed than the urea. So you can understand why the urea concentration along the kidney tubule will become higher and higher. Okay, so remember this, how to describe this, because it is a commonly asked question in exercise. Okay, to summarize about the reabsorption of different substances, let's use a table. For glucose and amino acids, they will be 100% reabsorbed. All of them will be reabsorbed at the proximal convoluted tubule. Okay, even the first part already reabsorbed all the glucose and amino acid, and the mechanism mainly based on active transport. Okay, together with some diffusion. And then salt, water, and urea, they will be reabsorbed along the whole kidney tubule, different parts. Okay, so all the different parts of the nephron will reabsorb all these substances. Okay, for salt, it is by diffusion and active transport. For water, it must be osmosis, and for urea, okay, it is a passive reabsorption by diffusion. Okay, so after reabsorption is complete, the glomerular filtrate reach the final part, collecting duct, will become the urine. Okay, you can call the glomerular filtrate at the collecting duct and finally in the pelvis as urine to be removed. And the main component of the urine, mostly water, salts, and urea, and other metabolic rates. Okay, of course, urea is also one important metabolic waste to be removed in the urine. Okay, so to recap what we had learned in this video clip, we have talked about the urinary system and the structure of kidneys, and the process of urine formation, including ultrafiltration occurs between the glomerulus and the Bowman's capsule, and also reabsorption occurs along the kidney tubule.